Hi, my name is Vijayta, and in this video I will talk about the different stages of schooling in Australia, the fees that's applicable to each stage, what are the documents that is required, and a lot of other basic information that I think would be good to know. For the convenience of understanding, I have divided the schooling system of Australia into different stages. The first stage is an early learning stage, the second is preschool or kindergarten, the third is primary school, and the fourth is high school. High schools are also in a few places divided as a junior high and a senior high, and a lot of places a high school is called as a middle school and then a high school. Let's first talk about the early learning care. This is applicable to kids who are less than, I would say, 4 years old. You have early learning centers spread all across. You have a lot of options, and you can enroll your child in an early learning for as many days in a week as you like and for as many hours in a day. So that gives you a good flexibility in case you're working full time. The only downfall is they're very expensive. I paid $110 each day for learning center care. Good part about these centers are they don't really ask you to pay a whole lot of amount in the beginning. They may probably ask you to pay for a week or a fortnight's fees upfront. So it's easy. You can begin early learning as soon as you get there. Learning centers that I had come across, they didn't really ask for a lease document or a permanent address document, which means is that if you've just moved to Australia and you immediately have to enroll your child in an early learning center, even if you've not got a house by then, you can, on the basis of any address, enroll your child. Next category is a preschool or a kindergarten, and it's often also called as kindy. This is applicable for kids of age group between 4 to 5 years. Kindies actually prepare your child very well to attend formal school. Kindies run for 2 full days in a week. Hours would be roughly around 8:30 a.m. to, I would say, 2 p.m. and also a half day in a week. So in case you're working full time, kindy alone will not be able to solve the purpose, because you would need your child to be engaged for the remaining hours or remaining days of the week. That is when you would probably enroll your child also in an early learning center along with kindy. So kindy fees are roughly $250 per term. The third category is the primary school, because primary school runs Monday through Friday and from say 8:30 in the morning up till 3 p.m. So that's going to be a big relief. This is applicable, or you can get your child enrolled in a primary school if your child completes the age of 5 years by the May of that year. If it's not happening, then your child is eligible for primary the following year. The fees for school is roughly $250 per year. If you're working full time, while it's a big relief compared to kindy and early learning center days, but your child would get free by 3 p.m. Every day, and if you're working full time, you would need to know where to put your child for the remaining hours, and that's when the OSH or the outside school hours care comes in place. So most of the schools, or all, I would say all the schools, have an OSH facility. So, and the mentors, what they do is right after 3 p.m. when the school is off, they go to the school, pick up the kids and walk them to the OSH. So you are actually taken care of from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. A few times your office hours would actually start sooner than the school hours. So you could be starting work at 8 a.m. So that is when again you would first drop your child to the OSH for a preschool OSH, and the mentors will then drop your child to the school when it is time to begin the school. Because I was on 489 and no benefits were applicable to me, so I was paying, other than the school fees, I was paying $25 each day for OSH, and I was only taking the after school care. So if you take an after school care and also the before school care, obviously you pay additional amounts. Primary school starts from reception, which is nursery, up till the grade 7. I think after 22 they're making some change, and grade 7 will now become a part of high school. That brings us to the third category, which is high school. This is for kids who are of grade 7 and beyond, and as of now it is for grade 8 and beyond, but from 22 this will change. Now, a few additional things that I would like to mention here is, so in case you have a child eligible for high school and one for primary school, first shortlist the high school that you would like to send your high school child to, because you will most likely have a primary school in the vicinity of that high school, but not the other way around. So you will have a lot of primary schools which do not have a high school in that area. So that's one thing you would like to keep in mind. Also, there are a few high schools which have a primary wing adjacent to them, so it becomes convenient that your kids are getting dropped around the same location and getting picked up from the same location. The next point that I think I would like to mention is about the immunization certificate. What is that? It's like the vaccination list. Before you travel, get a certificate made from your child's pediatrician or doctor, whoever must have administered all those vaccinations. Take that list with you when you travel, and as soon as you get to Australia, go to a general practitioner, show that list of immunizations that have been administered already, and then the nurse working with those GPs will be able to tell you what are the shortfalls as per the Australian standards. Most likely there will be a few shortfalls, and then you can get them administered. That will make your child administered all the immunizations as per the Australian standards, and you're good to go. You would need this certificate, especially if you're enrolling your child in an early care center, a primary school or a kindy. Next factor that I've mentioned in a few of my previous videos is that there is a 2 weeks vacation at the end of every term and of school, and every term lasts for 3 months. So yeah, very nice that the kids get a 2 weeks break, but not so nice if you're working full time, because then your kids need to be engaged, and that is when the same OSH, where the same place that you were sending your child for in OSH, will now become a vacation care. They will have a lot of activities being running for those 2 weeks, and your child can stay there from as early as like 7:30 in the morning to 6 p.m. in the evening. It's just that those vacation care comes with a cost. I paid $50 every day for the vacation care, but because I was working full time, I had no choice but to take that option. The school sessions begin on the 29th of Jan roughly every year, and there are a lot of schools which are called as zone schools. What it means is that these schools have a designated or defined suburbs in their list, and they are bound to take your child if you're living in that area. So what you could probably do is, whichever school you visit, find out what are their zone areas, and if you are in that area or not. If you happen to get an accommodation in that area, then feel free that those schools will take your child. So don't worry so much. I've heard a lot of parents being worried that I'm traveling in September, will the schools take my child or not? So don't worry about that. It's pretty easy and flexible. Few times your child at the time of enrollment will maybe gauged as not at par with the English language of the kids of that grade. In that case, they may be put into a 1-year focus group where the education will be imparted as regularly as it will be to any other child of that grade, but it's just that your child becomes a part of the focus group, and the mentors hence focus specifically on the English language, and at the end of that year your child is expected to be at the same par in terms of the English language ability. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, for liking, for subscribing, and for all your comments that you've been giving. I welcome you to leave your comments and the thoughts about what are the other topics that you would like me to cover or make a video on, and I would surely try and honor that request. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Bye bye.